Okay, so now we're talking about mantra. Um, Mantra, like I said before, means words of power, words that are infused with a certain kind of vibration. Most all words probably have a certain amount of that, but some are very, very powerful. And so the idea when we're using a specific meditation technique, a specific mantra, at least in this course and in these teachings that we're sharing here, it's not just a sound to help calm your mind. It's not just a technique to help you to be more concentrated and focused. It does that. But there's a peaceful vibration to those who are open to this. There's a peaceful vibration in these sounds. And so we're going to talk about how to practice Hong Sa mantra. And so the pronunciation is Hong Sa. And the thing about Hong Sa is you can put any word formula you want to in there. But the reason we use Hong Sa, one reason, is because if you're open to this, Hong Sa has been practiced for thousands of years by sincere seekers of truth. And so we believe, and I feel that I experience, that there's a certain magnetism, there's a certain consciousness in these tones that can be helpful for meditation and help us. It's sort of like group meditation. How many of you have already experienced that when you meditate in a group, it's easier? It just is. Group magnetism. How many people have read or seen a movie about, hopefully haven't had to experience it in real life, but of like a kind of like a lynch mob. You know, where you have a group of people and they all start yelling and everybody's mad, and pretty soon you've got a group of people doing things together that any one of them or most of them individually would never think of being involved in on their own. So there's this group mentality thing that we have because we're not separate. One way of looking at yoga and meditation, spiritual growth, is to dissolve, to get rid of anything that makes us feel so separate from each other. That's why compassion, sympathy are constant in all traditions. Because the more compassion and the more goodwill I feel toward others, the less suffering I experience because they're a part of me in some way. So with mantra, maybe right now if you're meditating at home, you're not really doing a group meditation. But if you're using the Hong Sa mantra, it's like you're practicing with everyone else that did it before. And so it's sort of like you're walking on a path that others have walked on. It might feel like it's alone right now, but you can see the pathway through the forest because other people have been using it. And that's kind of how the mantra works. And so basics would be, you start off with some measured breathing, but that's preparation. But the actual technique is once you do some measured breathing like we're doing in the guided meditations now, where you're inhaling, holding, and exhaling for the same amount of time, maybe for 6 rounds, something like that. This is to kind of get you in the flow, get you centered, get you into the feeling of the breath, and kind of transition out of more mental or more active experience. Then you release that, okay? So you're going to do the measured breathing, and then you're going to release the measured breathing after the last exhalation. You'll take a short inhalation or a medium one like this, a normal breath. And just exhale. You can do like a 2 or 3, like that. So do 3. Exhaling, just kind of empty the lungs. And just to kind of mark, let's say, all right, now I'm going into the mantra. Now at this point, you totally release control of your breath. Do the best you can. It takes practice. And when that next inhalation comes in, feel it. Experience it wherever it feels most natural for you right now. And these things change as we go through the class. Right now you might feel your belly moving, you might feel your chest moving, you might feel the breath in the nose or the throat. You decide where you want to concentrate, keeping the spine tall, the eyes closed, and don't let the position drop below, let's say straight ahead with the eyes closed for now. Just don't let them go down because it helps you go more into a sleepy direction in your mind. So you're not controlling the breath. You're not doing anything with it except you're deeply experiencing and observing it. And then you're mentally chanting as the inhalation comes in for the duration of it, Hong. So Hong on the inhalation, Saw on the exhalation. You're not vocalizing, you're not using your tongue, your mouth, your lips. It's all in your mind. It's silent mental repetition of those two sounds. What does it mean? Hong Saw in Sanskrit means I am spirit. You don't need to be thinking about that. It's not really helpful to think about that because we're trying to get out of the thinking mind. And so we're trying to at least not stimulate the thinking mind. And we're more tuning into the perceiving mind, you could say, the awareness beyond the thoughts, okay? So inhaling Hong, exhaling Saw, without controlling the breath in any way, and keeping the eyes from dropping. And then, if it helps you, this is optional, when you're sitting, we've already talked about this, but your palms will be facing upward on your lap. Right forefinger, index finger. If it helps you, you can use it to watch. If you find that your mind's just drifting off the breath, you can't keep on it or whatever, or you're really mentally busy especially. When you're inhaling, curl the finger like this. Inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation. The trick here is not controlling the breath. Most people say, well, as soon as I use that mantra, I start going, like you're sawing wood or something. That's not the technique. So this is where you getting there and being there both count. You're really doing the best you can to release control of the breath. And as you're able to do that, what happens is, you're feeling each breath as a very unique experience. It's its own thing. You're the whole breath. Everything that you feel with the breathing, you're observing it. You're listening to it. You're watching it, okay, without controlling it, and you're just adding the mantra. And so do this for about half of your meditation time for now. And then if you're meditating, let's say 12 minutes, do a couple minutes of measured breathing, do about 5 minutes of Hong Saw. And then when you feel that you've gotten pretty much as peaceful as you're going to get, take another breath and exhale like this again. Empty the lungs. And still release control of the breath. You can feel it. Let go of the mantra. And just enjoy the peace that you feel. And try to relax in it without doing any techniques for another 5 minutes. So about 2 minutes measured breathing, 5 minutes Hong Saw, and 5 minutes of just watching the breath or trying to just kind of maintain that feeling without the aid of the technique. It's very important at this stage, okay? So you don't need to use a meditation timer. Just look at, you can, if you don't want to be late to work and all that, then have a timer to save you from being late. But develop your own ability to kind of go, well, about 2 minutes, I'm going to just, that's about 6 rounds or 12 rounds. I don't know what it is, so don't go by what I'm saying, but you can figure it out, timing it one time. But then the 5 minutes for the Hong Saw, don't use a timer. It's too disruptive. Try not to look at your watch. Just do it by feel. Okay? It's not like if you're going a minute or two one way or the other, it's going to kill you. Just get into the flow of it and practice it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about Hong Saw. I'd say for now that's it. And I would say if you're practicing Hong Saw and it's just feeling really difficult, just do the best you can. And remember that this is a process and it takes time to develop. But I mean, if you're doing a 12-minute meditation, just deal with it. Do the best you can. If your mind is going crazy, then go back a step and use the more guided meditations where I'm talking, and because this is something you would be doing more in silence. We have the guided meditation, which will guide you with the Hong Sa, but still we're going to be moving more in the direction of silence now and less in the direction of guided or visual or auditory meditations, okay? So that's an introduction to Hong Sa. Oh, and let's see, yeah. Yeah, that's it for now. If there's something that I forgot, I think there might be, we'll just catch it in the next talk. Okay.